We begin this hour with a story about the incredible power of second chances. Lead national correspondent David Begnaud introduces us to his dog trainer, Bradley Arrowood. He has been working to redeem himself after spending 25 years in prison. They spoke about the crime that got him locked away and his motivation for turning his life around. David also spoke to former California Governor Jerry Brown, who played a role in getting Arrowood released and who was seeking his own second chance.
When Bradley Arrowood first came to train my dog, it sent me on a very unexpected journey.
When you killed your victim, you were how old?
23.
He was, by his own admission, a hardcore Los Angeles biker who killed a man he said had had an affair with his wife.
You lured him to a house, you beat him, you duct taped him, and he suffocated because of that.
That and a broken nose, yes.
And I was honest with you. And I said, had I known the facts before you came here, I wouldn't have had you here.
He wouldn't have called.
And I thought, well, here's my opportunity to actually live the walk. I talk the second chance talk, but can I walk it?
There are so many people that come back out or could come back out that educate themselves, and they don't get the same breaks I got.
The breaks he got led to a successful service dog training business, thanks to his own decision to change.
I, Jerry Brown.
And someone else changed too. Jerry Brown commuted Arrowood's life sentence in 2017.
But he earned it. He was certainly, the record was very impressive.
Jerry Brown, now retired and living on his Northern California ranch, knows about second chances.
And let me just add up to you.
But when he was elected as the nation's youngest governor in 1974, he was very tough on crime.
He passed the first mandatory sentencing law in the state that then led to a lot more of those laws being passed.
President of the Alliance for Safety and Justice, Lenore Anderson, advocates for criminal justice reform.
Many people are really not aware of the history of the movement for tough on crime. It originated here in California.
The result of that was from 12 prisons that existed when Reagan was governor, we went, after I left, to 33 prisons. So we went from about 25,000 people in prison to 170,000.
That legacy Jerry Brown left when his first term ended in 1983 directly affected Bradley Arrowood when he was sentenced 10 years later to life in prison with no possibility of parole.
I had a death sentence, basically, death by incarceration.
The crime was almost 30 years ago, and talking about it like we are now makes you feel how?
Lost still.
Lost why?
I lived a lifestyle feeding off fear, hatred.
And what has changed?
What really hit home was 7 years into my sentence, finding out I had a daughter that was placed in the foster care system. She was told that I don't love her, don't want her, and hurt people for a living. She's 7. I never even knew about her.
How did you find your purpose in prison?
Trying to do better for my daughter. I wanted her to not be ashamed at who I was. I had to be an example, even though there was no chance of me getting out. I wasn't able to tell her that I wasn't getting out, ever, because I didn't want to destroy any hope that she had.
But why? You were never going to get out.
Because I didn't want her to be able to say that her dad was a failure.
Then, in 2010, Jerry Brown was elected California's governor again. By then, he wanted to undo the heavy sentencing laws he had championed as a young governor.
When you were governor the second time, it wasn't just sort of your morality and your conscience that led you to think we need to give people a second chance. You also have the federal courts telling you your prisons are overpopulated and you've got to reduce that.
Yes, that was a big nudge. Without the federal court, it would have been very hard to do as much as we did.
By then, California's bulging prisons included 4,000 inmates who had no possibility of parole, including Arrowood, who had become a model prisoner and was given a new opportunity.
Specifically, the program was to train dogs to be service dogs.
No, not originally. It was just to give dogs a second chance. Dogs that were in high kill shelters like we were in prison, to give them a second chance at being adoptable.
The prison's program was fittingly called Paws for Life.
Those dogs gave us back our humanity. It brought emotion back into prison. But to come back out here, if it hadn't been for the dogs, I wouldn't have been able to function.
Dog training was also a prized program of the warden, who recommended that Arrowood's sentence be reviewed by the governor, the only man who had the power, and now the conviction, to commute an inmate's sentence.
In commuting your sentence, Brown didn't free you. Brown just said,
No.
I will give you the opportunity
To prove yourself to my board.
When he faced the parole board in 2018, the Los Angeles County District Attorney objected to his release, saying his offense was especially heinous and his history of abuse of drugs makes him an unreasonable risk. Still, though, members of the parole board unanimously agreed to release him, saying he had a good background to succeed on the outside. By then, he had served 25 years in prison.
When I say the name Jerry Brown,
It's a miracle.
ever met him?
No, I haven't.
Want to?
I would love to.
So we invited him to travel with us
Good to meet you, Woody. Come on by.
to meet the man who had the biggest impact on giving him a second chance.
So, Woody, how are you feeling?
Kind of amazed. I had a million things written in my mind, but I don't even know how to say how much thanks and gratefulness for you taking a chance.
Had you applied before?
No,
So you just...
there was never any hope.
Tell the governor what you've done with your life since you got out.
When I first got out, I went to a transition home to adjust after 25 years. From there, I attended Cal State LA as a full-time student and graduated with a bachelor's degree in organizational and applied communications. I got married to a girl I've known since 8 years old. Started my dog training business.
You got any ideas on what we ought to be doing with our prisons?
Well, I think we need to kind of go back a step to where it used to be, that people get a chance to earn their way out, not necessarily just get let out without any skills or being able to move on and go right back to what they knew before.
Was granting commutations in some way cathartic for you?
You know, I was in the seminary for 4 years. I'm very sympathetic to redemption. I wouldn't say it was a cathartic process. It was a very intensive process.
Everybody, yes.
Before we left, there was another opportunity for some behavior corrections
What? Yes. Come.
for the governor's own dog.
Yes.
We could train this dog in no time.
Yes. I can do wonders in a couple of weeks.
While Arrowood's dog training business continues to thrive, thanks to dog owners willing to take risks on him.
He's so happy to see you.
The risks that he has taken has led him to be the father he never was, to the daughter he hardly knew. She is now 29 years old, with a son. They are a whole family, living a second chance.
Everybody hopes somewhere in the back of their mind that they can be good, that we're not all bad. That little bit of investment in somebody gives a person a lot of incentive to go a long way.
Bradley Arrowood has not reoffended ever since he got out of jail 5 years ago. He's never been rearrested, and he is now off of parole.
David, a wonderful, wonderful story. You said something else powerful. I talk the second chance talk.
Right.
Here's my time to walk it. How do you feel after giving him a second chance?
I feel good about it, but life has a funny way of confronting you with like, oh, you're all high on it, right? It's popular to talk it. Now what are you going to do? I mean, he was standing at my door and I sat down, and by the end of the conversation, I had cried a little bit. And I thought, if everything he's telling me is true, and I got to fact check all of it, this is one hell of a story.
He did not have to do that when he walked through your front door. He could have just been, I'm your dog trainer, here I am.
Right.
Such courage for him to reveal that to you and to tell his story. Give him a lot of credit for that.
And that's part of keeping himself accountable, Natalie.
Yeah.
Nice job, David.
David, another excellent story. You did it again. We all got a little teared up.
Thank you, friends.